Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, even a bigger welcome. But today I wanted to do a little DIY for you guys because this trend is everywhere right now. It's all over Pinterest, Instagram, you see it on Zara, on Mango, all those places. And if you're small like me, it does not fit. It is not cute, but it is so cute on other people that aren't petite like me. So I figured there's a lot of you out there like this that probably don't want to pay $50 or $70 for a plain t-shirt with just some shoulder pads in it. So I'm pulling this video together for you guys because I think it's going to be super easy and super fun and just like a fun little evening or weekend activity. You can wear it at home while you're working from home and take it out afterwards. So let's get started. So you're gonna need some scissors, duh, obviously. I'm using my cutting shears just because they're easier and they're less damaged from fabric, and honestly they're ugly, but I really don't care. A Sharpie or some kind of marker or chalk pen. I'm just gonna use a fine tip Sharpie so that I can mark where I want to cut. Some pins, probably honestly only like 2 to 4. I'm just gonna use them on the shoulder to keep everything attached while I sew. A needle and some thread. It doesn't really matter because the thread is going to be on the inside of your tee unless you're wanting to do a specific kind of sewing, which gets a little bit complicated, so I'm not going to cover that with you guys. For the shoulder puff, I'm going to be recycling part of an old blanket and a little bit of batting, just depends on how puffy you want it. I don't want it super stiff and puffy, so I'm going with something a little bit more movable and a little less stiff. If you have shoulder pads from an old outfit or something, or that you've thrifted, you can go ahead and use those too. And lastly, of course, your t-shirt. I wanted something a little bit thicker than my usual everyday t-shirt, so I went to the men's section at Target because you want your shoulder seam to be off your shoulder so that you can do a little bit extra with it, because you're going to be pulling it under and it hangs, as you've seen in some of the pictures. Oh, I just did it. It kind of hangs off your shoulder a little bit for a little bit of drama. So now that we have all those supplies, let's get started. So now that we know where we want this seam to end, I'm going to measure out my shoulder pads. So here's a small piece. This is the width that you want it to be. So I'm going to cut it off right here, and then I will be rounding it out, and I'm going to do that with both pieces. These are both pretty thin, so I'm probably going to line it with a piece of soft blanket too. So I'm just going to use this little piece of blanket scrap, cut off the hem. Pardon me. Okay, so I just lay on top and I'm going to cut around it, and I will do that for both shoulder pads. Okay, so now I'm going to mark on my shoulder where I want the pad to kind of overhang. And honestly, with this shirt, I kind of think I want it close to the end where it's at, so I'm just gonna mark maybe like 1/4 of an inch up on both sides. Let me get my other pin. Same here, about 1/4 of an inch. And now we can move into creating our shoulder pads. So if you're doing as I am and you are not doing sewing machine work on this, I'm going to lay it flat and cut underneath this, but not cut this seam, and I'm just gonna go straight across if I can get it to lay flat for me. So now you basically have an oversized cap sleeve shirt. Okay, so next I'm going to fold the shoulder pad in half, and I did end up just deciding to do the blanket swatch because I didn't want something super big because, like I said, it can look a little overwhelming on me. So the tip of the round part is going to be on the outside, and I'm going to align it with this point right here, and I'm going to unfold it, make sure it's all the way to the end, fold it back in half, then I'm going to take my pins and pin it in place, just like that. From the top, and then I'm going to do it at the back too. Okay, so now that I have it pinned, all I did was fold under the sleeve on the inside and flattened it out just like this. And I'm going to take my needle and my thread, and I'm just going to put it right under. Oh, let me flatten it back out. Right under the seam, and pop it right through the original seam on the shirt. And I would suggest having thread probably the same color as your shirt, but since it's just going right through, well, sorry, my camera's being funky. Okay, and that is it. It was super easy, super fast. I did cut down a little bit on the armhole because this is like a softer, more fitted tee, but if it was a regular t-shirt, I really feel like you wouldn't have to because they have bigger armholes. But it's just really soft and comfortable, and I like how it's not overwhelming on my body like the other ones would be. But yeah, I'll show you guys how I styled it with what kind of pants and things like that.